afternoon. Thanks for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. A visit to a farm is a popular pastime in Vermont. Our hard-working farmers produce healthy local food, and all across our state they offer us farm fresh pick-your-own operations, cheese-making classes, maple syrup tasting, and even dinners on the farm. Many farms are open year-round and feature a farm stand. Others are open only on special occasions. Next week, Vermont's annual Open Farm Week will showcase over 70 different events on farms up and down the state. From August 9th to the 15th, Open Farm Week allows you to meet local farmers, sample delicious foods, and get a behind-the-scenes look at Vermont's vibrant working agricultural landscape. To tell us more about Open Farm Week, I'm joined by two guests. Tara Pereira is the Executive Director for the Vermont Fresh Network, which is one of the organizations that puts together Open Farm Week. Alongside Tara is Georgie Durham of Philo Ridge Farm in Charlotte. Philo Ridge is one of the many farms statewide that's taking part in Open Farm Week. Thank you both for coming in.
Thank you.
Great. So Tara, we'll start out with you for people that might not know. What is Open Farm Week?
Well, Vermont Open Farm Week is really a celebration of Vermont farms and farmers. You know, people get an opportunity to get outdoors and explore the state and have an authentic agritourism experience, from farm tours to dinners on the farm. There's so many things to do.
So clearly, if you like fresh local food, this is a way to do it and to meet your local farm.
Yeah. It's really a chance to build relationships with your farmers, with local farmers, and you know, it shows the diversity of Vermont's agricultural community, and people can have really unique experiences.
So what kinds of events might people expect?
Oh gosh, this is the 5th year of Open Farm Week, and as you said earlier, there are over 70 events across the state. You know, and each event really highlights the uniqueness of each farm. So, you know,
so each farm would be different.
Each farm's different, and from like I said, you can go and gather eggs at a farm, or you can go to dinner on a farm, or some of them are having concerts, classes, and workshops. It's a great way to learn and explore.
Runs, you said, like some farms didn't used to do it, but it's so popular. Dinners and
there's Lavender Essentials in Derby, Vermont. Actually, is having a 5K, so you run through the lavender fields, and it sounds kind of perfect.
Okay.
You know?
Oh, and just quickly, why is it important for us to get out and visit our farms?
Well, you know, first of all, it's fun, right? And this is a great time of year to be outside and visit farms. Also, it's important for people to know how our food is produced. And, you know, farm-based experiences are really the key to connecting us to our agricultural heritage, Vermont in general, the landscape, the working landscape, but it's also a way for us to support the rural economy.
Sure, and to see how diverse it really has become,
yes,
which is exciting.
It's become quite diverse. So many, you know, as I was saying, it's just, there's even this year we have a hops farm open, which will have tours of the hops yard, and you'll be able to sample beers that are made from that hop.
Great. and as I mentioned earlier, one of the participating farms in Open Farm Week is Philo Ridge Farm in Vermont, I mean Charlotte, and this is a very diverse farm. Georgie, you're with us. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the farm and how it developed?
So Philo Ridge Farm is a 400-acre, beautiful, diversified working farm in Charlotte, and it was purchased in 2012 by the current owners, Peter Swift and Diana McCargo, who have turned it into a more diversified landscape featuring vegetables, some berry and fruit production, and we also raise belted Galloway cattle, sheep, pigs, and chickens. Before Peter and Diana took over on the farm, it was a 5th-generation dairy farm owned by the Foote family and focused solely on more conventional dairy. And when the Footes decided to retire from farming, Peter and Diana, who are neighbors of the property, decided to purchase the farm and develop a new system of agriculture on that land.
And really sustainable by having all this diversity and pollinator.
We try to have
avenues.
a regenerative agricultural model. So we did a lot of composting and cover crops to help bring more nutrition back into the soil. We have a sort of typical Vermont clay soil, so it's taken a lot of work and restoration to help make it a great, viable, growing soil. And we have so many different parts of the farm, the different animals, the different crops we grow, that everything really relates to each other. It's almost like a small ecosystem of its own on the farm.
Awesome. So what kinds of events are happening there for Open Farm Week?
We have a variety of events. Every day during Farm Week, we're doing 2 open tours, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. We also have a Vermont-born artist named Maggie Pate coming to teach natural dye classes. She's doing an indigo dye workshop and also a dyeing class using food scraps, which is really exciting. And actually we'll be featuring onion skins from our kitchens.
Wow.
And
Very cool.
New.
It's cool, yeah.
We also have a family morning with some activities for children to help educate about the farm and the animals, and a reading from local children's book author Christy Mahaley, who wrote a wonderful children's book about harvesting hay. We also make our own hay at the farm, so it really fits in. And we also have some live music during the week and some specials on our menu featuring our farm food.
It's a really diverse set of things you can
It's quite a
experience there.
schedule.
And why is it important to share what you're doing with the community, which is also part of your mission?
So exactly, part of the mission of the farm is to really engage the community and serve as an educational resource. Especially being out in Charlotte, a more rural area, we really wanted to provide a community gathering space and share what we're doing. Being a regenerative agricultural model for other small farms and people who want to be interested in farming and integrated agriculture, we really want to share what we're doing and share farming with people, and also introduce people to how food production and farming can be beautiful and sustainable and an attractive career path or economically viable way of life, especially in a state where there's a lot of rural communities and a lot of farming.
Fantastic. And how does this dialogue about farming, which you promote there in your space and with your market, how can that help farmers across the state, do you think?
Well, we try to approach farming also with a collaborative spirit, and I think when Tara was talking about how Open Farm Week is a chance to engage with your community, we try to engage with local farmers. So for example, we don't produce grains or dairy, so we'll try to feature local cheeses in our market or bring in goods from local artisans like high quality cutting boards or handbags that people make by hand in addition to selling our produce and meats. So we are trying to bring people together around farming and help educate the community about what it means to be part of a local and sustainable community.
Awesome. So how can the public interact with Philo Ridge Farm?
Well, definitely come and visit during Open Farm Week. But in addition to Open Farm Week, this is only our second year really being open, and so it's our first summer of really trying to have events programming. So there's farm tours every Friday, regardless of whether it's Open Farm Week or not. And since we have a market and serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner, families are welcome to come, enjoy a meal, experience our food, and also take a walk around the farm.
So we were talking earlier about how young people are getting a little disconnected. I kept thinking young people get the whole fresh food thing even more. Talk a little bit about getting young people involved in farms and farming.
Well, I would also say young people and people of all ages. I think people have, I know for myself with kids, I have a busy life. So just getting food on the table and just going through my life working, and it's nice to kind of take a step back and really connect with the farmer and talk, and actually also connect with my local community. And this is a great way to do that. I don't know if you want to speak to what you've come in contact with.
I think that especially for people of my generation, I would agree with you that I think a lot of people in my demographic are very aware of fresh food, but I think that there's still often a disconnect with the actual process of creating the food and the effort and planning that goes into it, and the whole process of bringing it really from the farm to the table. And I also think that a lot of rural areas, maybe not necessarily in Vermont, but also around the country, are sometimes going through a hard time. And I think one thing at Philo Ridge is we're really trying to be a model for how we can make farming a really economically viable profession for people to consider going into, so that young people, when they're thinking about how they'll support themselves and give back to their communities in their adulthood, they can think about farming as a really viable option and still have a good quality of life for themselves. And I think that engaging people in the really vibrant farming and food community in Vermont helps inspire that interest.
Absolutely. So Tara, Open Farm Week is 7 days, a dozen farms, 70 special events. Who helps put this all together?
Well, a number of agencies and organizations through the Farm to Plate, Vermont Farm to Plate Network. So of course, Vermont Fresh Network, but that also Nova Vermont, the Vermont UVM Extension, the Agency of Agriculture, Vermont Department of Tourism and Marketing, also Shelburne Farms and City Market. We all work together to put on this event this week, this yearly event.
A favorite event of yours? It's
Gosh,
hard to
there's
say.
so many.
There's so many.
Well, Philo Ridge has a great calendar of events that week, but I would also say just the we were talking about the Lavender 5K, that Lavender Farm. I love the farm dinners and just kind of, those sort of events. But also, too, this is a great chance to learn about things. So I'm a big fan of the classes, whether it be natural dyeing classes or there are a couple of cheese making classes that are going on at Bread and Butter Farm and Rebop Farm in Brattleboro. So,
and I love the fact that the dinners do bring community together. So fabulous. So Tara, where can people get information about all these farms and all these events?
Well, they can get all the information on diginvt.com. It's a website about food and farm tourism in Vermont. And so people can go onto the website, see all of the events, get information, ways to, also directions and all that. But and if they want to continue that relationship with Food and Farms, they can sign up for our newsletter. It comes out twice a month.
Okay. Thank you, Tara and Georgie, for telling us about Open Farm Week. It's great to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
And thank you for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard.